Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So in today's video tutorial, we will see how to build an LLM based application which also communicates with database to extract information. This application will take user's question in natural language and pass it to the underlying LLM. The LLM will take the natural language question and convert it into an SQL query. And then this SQL query is passed to the database by our application and then executed, and then it returns the final output to the user. So such kind of application is specifically helpful in real business scenario, for example, in the reporting layer of data warehousing projects, where end user usually do not have SQL expertise and can use natural language to get quick information from the database. So before we develop the code or we go to the code, I just want you to show how this application will look like when we will be done with our coding. So yeah, this is how our end application will look like. So this is the title, AI SQL assistant, and this is the text input to provide a user query. And we have three types here: result, query, and ERD diagram. This ERD diagram is simply to help end user to just tell how our tables or entities are connected. So you can see that region have multiple nations, one nation have multiple customers, and one customer can put multiple orders as well. So we are using Snowflake database for this demo, and we are using the data for TPCH schema. So if we pass a simple query to this application, let's say how many total customers I we have, and run it, it is running. See, I have got the total number of customers. Here I can see the query as well, which is simply a count star from customer, right? So if we go to our database and run this query, so you can see that we get the desired output. But you may think that, okay, this is simply select count star or select star from a table. Will it be able to make joins on the fly? Yes. So if I pass a complex query, let's say which customer has the highest order count, also give me the customer details. So we have different table where we have placed the orders, and then we have a different dimension table where we are storing the customer details. So if I fire this query and I go back to the results, it is running. Okay, so here you see the output. So we have got the customer name, customer address, customer phone, all the customer related details, and how many orders that customer had placed. So in the query, you can see that on the fly, it was able to identify which two tables to be used to extract the information from analytics.raw.orders and inner join analytics.raw.customer, which column to be used to join them, and then extract the information. So that's how it can also generate the complex queries and provide the output. So let us go and develop the application now. So to develop this application, we are going to need libraries like LangChain, which is basically a framework to develop application on LLM, Streamlit, which we will be using to develop the front end, OpenAI library, which we will be using to communicate with GPT, and then because we are using Snowflake database, so we will be using Snowflake Python connector. So let's start by importing some libraries. Import OS, pathlib, import path. This class we need to evaluate our project directory from PIL, import image. This we need to load the image of ERD diagram. So another file we need is from app secret. So I have created a Python file where I have kept all the secrets, including the Open AI API key. This SQL execution Python file is basically a simple code which I am using to execute generated SQL by LLM to into the database and then returning the final output in the form of a data frame. And if due to any issue the query gets failed or it gets compilation error, then I get the compilation error message instead of the output. So let's go back. As the first step, we will have to declare an environment variable for our OpenAI API key. os.environ. We will have to keep the same name, otherwise we are going to get an error. We will have to evaluate the root path because we need to use directories and images. So p for p in path of my current file dot parents if p dot sorry p dot parts and the last part of equals to my project name AI app demo, and if it is fine, give me the first element. So if we try to print a root path, let us see what we get. Why it shows error here? It says it was not closed. P for p in part dot parents if p. Okay, here it needs to be double equal. So let's just run this code python demo.py. So we have got our root path. We are good until now. So now let's create some front end for our application. So create front end. For creating front end, we will need Streamlit library. Import Streamlit as st. First of all, let's give some title. AI SQL assistant. Then we will take a user input in the natural language. User input equals to st dot text input. Enter your question here. In the next step, I showed you that we had three tabs, one for result, second for SQL query, and third for ER diagram. So we will create those tabs. First of all, we will create a list of the titles. So tab titles equals to result query. Third one will be ER diagram, ERD diagram. You can have as many tabs as you want. So after that, let's create those tabs. So tabs equals to st dot tabs and provide the tab titles. Tab titles. Now we will have those tabs. Now we need to load the image. So let us do that now. Load the image. Erd image equals to image dot open. We need to give the path. So path is our root path. After that root path, we need to go to images and then erd.png. Images erd.png. This should load our image. Now let us put the image in the tab. So with tabs, our sequence will be 0, 1, and 2. So here it should come as 2. st dot image, then erd image. Let's quickly check whether our application is working fine until here or not. To run a Streamlit application, you can type Streamlit run and then your file name. Okay, so we can see that it is working perfectly. Result query, and in the ERD diagram, we also have the diagram image. So let's go back. As the next step, we need to prepare our prompt, pass it to LLM, get the response, and then execute the query into the database, and then print the final output. So here we will create the prompt. So guys, I have written already a prompt into my directory prompts and then tpch prompt.yaml file. So I will be loading my prompt from this file. Why I created this file and how to load, I have created a detailed video on this topic, and I will share the link of the video, uh, and you can check that video for detailed information. But just to give you an overview, by you can see the length of my prompt here, and these prompts can change very frequently to get the higher performance or better results. So that is why we are keeping it as a separate, so that in real development, real application development scenario also, we can maintain the versioning of prompts. So if you want to understand quickly what I am passing in the prompt is, I'm simply telling it what kind of application it is, and in that I am also passing the DDL of my tables, and I am passing some use cases and the queries for those use cases. This is particularly to help the LLM to understand if some of the functions it has to generate on its own. For example, if date function it has to develop, it has to use, then which date function it will be using, because these date functions are different in different databases and LLM would not know. So let us load this prompt. Prompt template equals to, okay, to load this prompt we will need the LangChain library. From LangChain import or LangChain dot prompts import load prompt. So load prompt, and then we will have to give the path, root path, and then prompts, and then the name of my file, which is tpch underscore prompt.yaml. I have used YAML format. You can use JSON format as well. Now we have our prompt template. Next step, we need to create LLM and a chain. So let's first import the libraries. From LangChain import OpenAI and LLM chain. So let us create the instance of an LLM. LLM equals to OpenAI. I will keep the temperature 0 because I do not want in this case my LLM to be creative. I want, if I pass the exact same query, it should give me the exact same SQL in return. and we will create one chain which is SQL generation chain equals to LLM chain. I will pass LLM instance to it and prompt as prompt template. Let's keep verbose also true. Now I have the chain LLM and prompt ready. Now what I will program is that if we get the user input, perform the actions. So if user input, first of all get the SQL query, which I will get from SQL generation chain, and I will pass it my user input. Then I will have to execute this SQL into my database, for which I will need the function. So results equals to execute SF query. I will pass my SQL query to it, and then let us write those output in the tabs. So with tabs, first tab is for results, st dot write result. With tabs 1, st dot write SQL query. So guys, we are done with the development of the application. So let's go and check now. Okay, so nothing is broken. At least on the top we are good. So let us just pass a simple query. How many customers I have? Okay, I see it has failed. So okay, okay. So by mistake, instead of passing the query, we have passed the object. So let us just modify it. So in the query, I have to pass text here, and here also it will be text. This is what was the keyword. Yes. So we should be good now. So let us just refresh it. Pass the same question. How many customers I have? Okay. This time I have got the result. You can see this is the generated query as well. If we pass any complex query, let us say give me 3 dates which has maximum number of orders. So let us see, it is running now. Okay, I have got my output, and it says that 2017 to 28 had the maximum number of orders, and it is 124,673. Let us just go and check. We will use the same query which is generated by LLM. If I run this query, I get the same result, that 2017 to 28 has the maximum number of orders. So this is how we can develop quickly an LLM based real world application, which is also applicable in real world business scenarios and can help our clients. So this is all for this video, guys. If you find this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.